Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while. It's been a month. I would like guys that this show will have four people on the show, right? Myself, Virgil, and later Shivs and Brana will join. I would really like if these guys, when this pod goes out, could be honest and post my messages with them over this last month that I did try to get a podcast many times over the last month, and it was because of scheduling. So before anybody say, "Oh, Arsenal started to lose," I hear doing no pod, it's not that. It's not that. We lost this weekend, and I hear right, and I hear, and I'm so glad to be here with one of my best friends, my brothers from a long time, Virgil. Uzi was a good my guy.
I mean, I good. I mean, he's not wrong. He has been trying to get a podcast going, but schedule it. But also, two things could be right.
That's what you bro. I mean, hey, these are the pods that easy to do, right? And so, guys, as I was waiting for Virgil to load up here, um, I was doing our thumbnail for the next pod, right? And the last pod that we did, fine, I've had the same four people on it, right? That's gonna be on it today. And I was looking at the images because you guys know, like on YouTube, if you're not there already, subscribe. On the YouTube that we choose players upon the thumbnails, right? And virtually I was watching it, and that was you. The last time we recorded was the weekend that y'all did 1-1 with West Ham, and we beat Everton 2-0 with down one score, right? And I said, boy, watch how fast things has changed now, but the mood has changed. I remember at that point, you were saying, yeah, well, title over, let me just get this over and done with that kind of thing. And now, given game in hand, but you know me, I kept saying that Palace game is 3 points as far as I'm concerned. There's a 3 point gap between us and y'all, and there's a game to play at the Etihad next week. And so that's just how fast this all changes, bro. I mean, funny enough, I'm sure people's going to tune into this and want to hear how the Arsenal fan is crashing out, right? And the truth is, boy, I'm not as confident that I was before. Because ironically, before the Carabao Cup final, we had 3 losses all season, the second least in Europe. Only Bayern had less losses than us so far for the season. Since then, we've lost 3 in the last 4 games in 3 different competitions, exiting 2. Um, and so that's just how fast this thing can turn, man. I mean, I have my reasons. I know everybody might not agree with them, but when we reach the Arsenal, we talk about that. But we can't start anywhere else than with Man City versus Chelsea, which is obviously the big 6 game for the weekend. And we're just, Brandon would re-listen to the part of the pod that he isn't on, and so he'll hear me when I say this, right? But I think it's really amazing how far Chelsea have fallen this season, boy. I actually saw Virgil that they BR Sports was going to the Stamford Bridge ground and interviewing Chelsea fans and asking Chelsea fans, would you rather lose this weekend but guarantee that Arsenal don't win the title, but it means that you miss out on Champions League, or you rather win, get Champions League football, but Arsenal win the title? And I'm like, the first person that answered said they rather lose. And I was like, that is the most Spurs thing I ever hear in my life. That is such a small club mentality, bro. And I was so appalled, bro, because it's the thing, my mentality is always like, I always want the best for my club. However, anybody else do is them, Like I remember when it is that we was in the Europa League final and Spurs in the Champions League final, my answer was, I will win the Europa League, even if, I mean, these things really don't have no bearing on one another. But even if Spurs in the Champions League, I could deal with it. But I want my side back in Champions League. I wanted the trophy. Like, come on. But the game happened. It finished 3-0. Obviously, you guys know that by now. Ryan Turkey had a masterclass in the second half, and he set up 2 goals, one for Nico O'Reilly, one for Gehi. And then late in the game, Doku pinched Caicedo pocket, who, truthfully, on the rest in your has not looked like how we know him to be, and made a 3-0 and was really, really comfy in the end. So Virgil, going into the game, obviously Arsenal lost the day before, so the pressure was on to try and make the most of it. How you felt going into it, and what you think about the two very different halves? I think the first half Chelsea made it more of a contest, but I think second half y'all was complete masterclass. I was all over them.
Yeah, I feel honestly going into this game, you would be confident regardless. If you look at the both ends, Man City has been in a good run of form. Also, Chelsea has been, pretty. things have not been too good on Chelsea's end right now. But obviously, it's the Premier League. Things could change. There are many games I went in confident, and the result didn't come out with the 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
But if from the game, just going into the game itself, it started off. It honestly started off not in the best way. I wasn't too confident on how the game started off. Chelsea honestly felt like the more organized team in the first half. Felt like they knew their strengths and they were trying to exploit our weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, whatever was said halftime, had the players come out and perform the way they did. They just they played their football. As I mentioned, Chilky obviously pulling the strings. I find and even all the goals, quality. Shout out Nico Riley, shout out Maggie. Nico Riley is obviously on a great form. But
Mm-hmm.
just for like with City, these past couple game weeks, it's been a while since we played in the Prem. Before it was the FA
Yeah,
Cup, then we
boy.
had the Carabao
Uh,
Cup, and it just felt that you forget that this team is also a team that is still in transition. And I felt that from leading up to the Carabao Cup and one of how the display in that cup final, the transition is getting there. I feel like Pep is the identity Pep that Pep wanted. I felt like he tried that against Madrid. The identity that he wanted is he's finally getting the pieces to all line up perfectly. So
mm.
that's one thing that brings that confidence. One thing you find confidence in is week in week out. You could expect a fairly slightly changed lineup, and the players could go out, and these players could play off each other. You're confident in the 11 that being put out. So but all in
Let me ask
all
you
in all for
something
the
else,
game,
Virgil.
yeah,
So 2 seasons ago, the last time that both of us were involved in a title race, Cavadio was popping up big, huge goals. This time around, we're seeing Nico O'Reilly replicating that. And not just today, but obviously he had goals against us in the Carabao Cup final and has had many big goals across this 2026. In fact, he scored more goals this year than Erling Haaland. And where do you fall on there's people who would be upset that the striker is not the one getting these opportunities? And are you more upset about that? Or is it a case of, you know, the way that football plays, sometimes teams avoid the best chances for their best players, and it's about who it falls to stepping up in those moments. So yeah, what do you think about that?
yeah, I feel like beginning of the season, I felt like the over reliance on Haaland felt like a problem. And now we
Mm-hmm.
got to a point where Haaland is not firing as much as he did. If we forget that he right now sits about 22 goals in Prem. So yeah, you look at it and just from recency bias, you feel like that is still a problem that needs to be addressed. But
Yeah.
honestly, but honestly, I feel like we finally realized that there are certain areas in the play. We have different dynamics to our attack. And I felt like one criticism I had about the first half is that I felt like we were not putting any balls into the box,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt second half we addressed that, and just so happened
Funny
that
enough,
we
the
do have it.
commentator said that too. That he
Yeah,
thought they
we
didn't
do
try to
have
put in a ball towards Haaland.
we do have that aerial threat. For many times before we didn't really have that, even on set pieces as well. We do have that aerial threat, and just so happens, you've seen many times throughout the season where when we do put in that good delivery into the box, it is both Haaland and Nico Riley who are the ones attacking
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
aerial balls. So it just so happens it falls to Nico Riley, and right now he's in form. He's the one who putting it away. But in any game, it could swing, and Haaland could also get behind those goals.
I mean, look, obviously a few weeks ago, Haaland scored in the FA Cup hat trick, right? I mean, it's against
Yeah,
Liverpool. These days that don't really count, right? Anybody score against them.
that's
But
true.
before we go any further, Shivs, welcome.
Hi guys, good to be here.
Uh, you settled on a background yet? You find one that you're happy
Yes,
with?
yes, yes, yes. I did. Very proud
Don't
of the
worry,
son.
bro. We will definitely talk about Mbappe and Madrid later on in the pod. But what? So did you get to watch the Chelsea versus City game? I believe you did, right? Um,
For
did
me,
you
yeah.
have any overriding thoughts that they came out of the game with?
No, I was listening to Virgil summarize, and I think yeah, he did a really good job. Nico Williams, not Nico Williams. Nico Riley continues to be a great left back. Continues to get the goals. Uh,
Yeah,
and yeah, just poor from Chelsea overall. The car just fell over and rolled over and let City, take it 3 points.
yeah, boy.
But yeah, it makes the title race a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk more title race in a little bit. But like, I do feel like we are reaching the point in the season where we do discuss the storylines rather than the games. And I don't want to completely jump over it because there's players in this game that I really want to highlight. We talked about Nico earlier. I thought Gay had another very good game, but like I felt like it was two different halves from Chelsea. Like funny enough, my wife was sitting there with me while I was watching the game, and I tell her, funny enough, City don't really have the best record of second half performances, and Virgil, you know that as well. But like the way that Chelsea came out in the second half, funny enough, it was like they were the ones that struggled to maintain a certain level of performance and intensity in it. I thought Caicedo was a lot worse in the second half. I thought Fofana in particular was losing his marker a few times as well. And Caicedo, another game that I felt like he was struggling. And what's the irony in all this is that I thought first half some of these players were actually doing pretty well. Obviously, Cucurella had a disallowed goal, rightly disallowed, of course. But I thought Palmer was actually having a steady first half, and I thought like he was getting good pockets, he was riding contact while he was feeding others. He's getting good position. Second half, he had a shot block. But like it just feel like this Chelsea team just I don't know, boy. Like you know what's the thing, boy? I'm not going to clip this and put this on socials because I really enable. As a grown man now, I have a wife and thing, and I didn't meant to do too much raw stuff. But all we need to bring back shame, like serious shame, right? Though, because all the talk was Arsenal was on for quadruple and thing, right? Show of hands. Who here has ever heard John Christopher Mungle talk about quadruple?
Depends
Exactly.
on the context.
Right? I have never ever said that I will be going for. In fact, my entire mentality this whole time was I want the prem over everything. I don't want nothing else. I just want our prem. Just give me the prem, dog, and I'm good to go. Dog, right? Today now, I have Chelsea fans atting me, dog. And I'm here like, but you have not won a prem game in weeks. You have lost 5 of your last 6 games, one of which was an 8-3 loss on aggregate to PSG. You've also lost to Arsenal 3 times this calendar year, including knocking you out of a cup. We like how then now after you get your bum handed to you while you sat there and collected 3 goals to 0 at home could find the resolve to then message an Arsenal fan. We need to just bring back shame. Like that solves a lot of society's problem. We need to bring back shame. Sorry, I just need to get out of my chest. But yeah, but I thought Chelsea was terrible in the second half, boy, and it feels like we look at them get knocked out of the Champions League, bro. They lost to Newcastle a few weeks ago. Then Everton had them a huge loss. Now they lost again this weekend. I know it's the irony. They still they 7 points behind Aston Villa, who have had 4 wins in the last 14 Premier League games, boy. Like at this point, it feels like these Chelsea players aren't fighting for a senior at all. And it feels like every juncture that we come up to, guys, they make a bad call. Like, I've been real, obviously, we haven't spoken on this pod in a little while. But we saw that he banned Enzo for the 2 games for his comments. And while I find it extremely funny that, again, these Chelsea fans have more time to tweet about Arsenal, where the whole international break, Caicedo, Palmer, Cucurella, Enzo, all these men have it up for sales high, buy me, Like I get it. I find the ban was unfair, you know. But a real straight here now. Back to the game. But yeah, second half. Somebody that stood out real plenty, Virgil, was Ryan Cherky, boy. Now, I'm not gonna go as far as to say that he's a superstar yet, but over the international break with Salah retiring, and we'll touch on that a little bit. People were talking about like the Premier has lost a lot of the big names, over the last few years. And it's true they have, right? And I do think a lot of the players are now starting to be the big names in the game. Well, in the Premier at some points, like in the cases of Kane and Olise and Luis Diaz, like these guys who are now showing up in Europe. But there is a space opening up for these guys to emerge. I also think some of the current Prem stars Howard had the best season you would ask for. Like Palmer, like Saka, like Foden, the guys that you would expect to take up that vacuum. But I think Ryan Cherky is somebody that is rising to that, and is one of the most talented players in the world. He might be one of the most unlucky individuals to come up through France in a time where the squad is probably the most stacked it has been in ages, even in his position. But I don't think it's too far to say he's probably the best playmaker in the league already, even in his first season here, Virgil. So I should not take away time from you to throw praise on your number 10. So yeah.
Yeah, he is a he is a footballer. He is a bowler. Like Cherky is just that. He just what the Prem needed. He's somebody who has
Yeah.
that flair, somebody who has that creativity. He's somebody who he plays that football very attacking. He also sometimes people try to have him as a kind of system player, but he's also still find ways to
Yeah, he
to
not on that.
play
He
to
not
play
on that.
his football.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like, as I mentioned, for him coming into this league, it's not a number 10 coming into this league. Question mark would have been there. Obviously, it felt like many players do take time to adjust, and he is sitting up there with players, I believe, in early 20s, I think 22 and under, who have hit the ground running. Last player that we had on our books that did something similar like that was Leroy Sané, who
Mm.
finishes second season, I think 15
Voila.
assists. And he right now, Tricky does sit on 10 assists right now, and right now it looks to finish that season 10 plus assists, which is a big feat for a young player coming into the Premier League for the first
Mm-hmm.
time. But yeah, but one thing you'll always say, he is somebody who he's not afraid. He's not afraid. He literally plays. He literally plays. He literally constantly demands the ball. Constantly
Yeah.
tries. He constantly tries. That's one thing too that we used to give De Bruyne praise. He was a player who
Yeah.
wasn't afraid to try. Wasn't afraid to make that loose pass. Wasn't afraid for
And I
those
like
for
the
those type of
personality
things.
from him too. Like I like the little faces that he's making, the laughs and the jokes. And bro, I like again though, funny enough, obviously we all watched the game, right? We all saw the City fan that needs to go on a diet ASAP, who was drinking the bottle, right? Bro, I all hate for that dog. Like dog, we need personality in football, look. And it's one thing for the fans, yeah, bro, fine. Bro, I want these players too. I'm well aware that Haaland is on his longest goal scoring drought in the league, Virgil, and God knows how long, right? But I love
Yep.
the fact that Haaland has a lot of personality to him, bro. I love how he behaves, how he acts, and like, I'm not asking you to compare who it is you beat better, Virgil, pause, because, you need to go there. But like, I like how that between City and Arsenal, bro, is actually feel like a rivalry in the sense that these players don't like each other, and they
Yeah.
do take the Mickey out of each other, and they do take the time to banter and to get under the other one's skin. Not this thing where KDB and Van Dijk
Yes,
holding
friend.
hands and walking off the field together. Boy, spare me that, boy. I want real men football, dog.
That it is what
Um,
it is what yeah, I agree with that, because if it's one thing that I would always one thing that will look back about this period and with this type of title race is because the teams that you go up against, they are the ones that also make the title race. Even going
yeah,
back, as much as I would hate, I hate Liverpool. That, well, my main thing is Klopp. Klopp is the only person I respect because he's the person who used to give me the most headache. Right now with Arsenal, people could say whatever they want. We know behind the scenes these teams are watching each other.
yeah,
Both
dog.
the players of City, players of Arsenal, both praying for each other downfall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They show that on the pitch. They literally show that on the
yeah,
pitch that how they will be there. They'll be making those response to each other because they understand. It's not just the league they're fighting for, but also it's pride they're fighting for, the ego they're fighting for,
yeah,
and that's what you need to. That's what I enjoy seeing when it comes to football. So even going back to like Turkey, when you see players that have that certain type of play, when they come on, they want to do things because he also plays with a certain type of ego as well. He knows that there's so much he could do and whatever but he might put that ego aside for the team. But these are the type of players you want. Not all these good youths and these men who want to be friendly and everything. Nah, I in a title race. You could save all of it in this season. During the season right now, it had no friendship.
yeah. And I mean, look, we're gonna talk So the plan is to talk this game, then we'll talk the Arsenal game, and then after that, we will talk about the title race
Project.
and the Etihad game next week, right? But one thing I want to see is that a huge thing I think City that Pep said in his post match comments is everything is about mindset, not tactics at this point in the season, right? Like I think like Arsenal fans get so wind up about not seeing the players that they like in the right position, in the right role with a million runs around them. And bro, ultimately, every tactic has its flaw. Like I have an Arsenal fan who tells me, he wish that we could play like Barca, right? But guess what, bro? Barca tactics is what led to that red card midweek and led to them being 2-0 down. Because every tactic has its flaw. There's pros and cons to everything, right? This is about players that want to rise and get this thing done. You don't think Haaland wishes that he is the one on the end of all these Nico O'Reilly chances. Nico O'Reilly has a brace against Arsenal in a cup final, has a brace against Newcastle in a 2-1 win, has a goal to go ahead in Stamford Bridge, amongst many other contributions. You don't think Erling Haaland, being the number 9, wishes that he's the one with those things to his name? Obviously, in an ideal situation, sure. But this time of the year is about who is going to step up and make their moments count. You know? And we see it time and time again. We said Gundogan in the 2021-22 season. We saw Gavardiol in the 23-24 season. Now we see Nico O'Reilly. Players just had to step up. Players had to make their moments count. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, dog, all these goals count the same. Whether it's set pieces, whether it's defenders scoring it, whether it is bangers, they all count the same. Who's going to put their self forward to be the ones that get these things over the line? And yeah, we'll touch on Chelsea before we move off of this. Shivs, I will give you the displeasure of trying to find something good to say about Chelsea from this game.
Um, some good to say about Chelsea in this game. At least it wasn't full.
That's true.
At least it wasn't full.
Yeah, and to just add on that to it with Chelsea right now, you can tell that these Chelsea players waiting right now for the end of the season because the more they play like this, the transfer fee might become a little more reasonable, and another teams could come in a bidding war, and they could have more suitors. Because I'm pretty sure these Chelsea players right now are
They seem
those
checked
who
out.
those who focusing on World Cup, yeah. But
Yeah, bro.
after World Cup, these Chelsea players right now they're not studying this club anymore. A lot of these players right now mind focusing on what other moves they can make and what are these other things, who might stick around. Because again, this just the way how these players playing right now, I don't think any of these players really care or even have any motivation to fight for Mr. LinkedIn or senior.
Yeah, but I mean, it does feel like you walk into this, and I mean, look, Virgil, I always bring this up, and it's not a clung, well, to some extent, because it was rude to put Chelsea in any prediction of Arsenal, right? But it is also to just bring up that you weren't the only one that had like high expectations with Chelsea going into this season. And some of those things did come true, right? Like João Pedro has proven to be a very good signing for Chelsea and stuff like that. But like Chelsea has so fallen away of what people thought that it was going to take a big step into. And again, I'm going to say this after a weekend where Arsenal lost and Arsenal never win no Champions League or whatever, whatever, whatever. Dog, it is say so much to me how Chelsea are literally capitulated again in front of our face. And it just feel like people are just accepted in it. Like they're supposed to be a big club, bro. These men lost 5 in their last 6. I'm telling you all this. Can you all tell me anybody else that has told you all that they've lost 5 in the last 6 games? No.
Yeah.
Nobody has sold it. Like that is so crazy to me though that they are falling apart right in front of our eyes, And Esteban is playing, João Pedro is playing, Cole Palmer is playing, Caicedo is playing. The men that they beg for to play, they're playing. I would love Saka to play these days, though. I can't get. And they're falling apart right in front of your face, though. So with that being said, we had to get with team of the week. Virgil, so because United playing Leeds tomorrow night, all of us in the morning we see our prayers for Calvert Lewin to give us a good evening. We're gonna have to choose either 3 players from this game or 2 from another game. I am more inclined to choose 3 from this game, mostly
Mhm.
because I think that there's 3 players that I would prefer not to leave out. And
Yeah.
those three actually end up being two of the goal scorers and the man who assists, but I thought they all had fantastic
Yeah.
games. Also, I just want to say this again, right? Because I think I said it on our pod before, right? Kusanov, since his debut, has come leaps and bounds, but because his debut was so trash, falling off at the same stadium, people have written off this player. But he has once again had a very good game and continues to be like Virgil. This is your third choice centre back, right? Or like second choice right back. That's a very high level player to have, and it goes under the radar because people talk about Gay today, and we are talking about Gay, and he did score and he did have a very good game. But when was the last time Kusanov make a mistake, Virgil?
Very true. And if he does make a mistake, he recovers immediately, just like
And
in
he
the FA Cup.
recover it, because he's so
Mhm.
bloody fast, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, so everybody cool with Cherky Gay here and Nico O'Reilly. Virgil, funny enough, I don't know if you'll disagree, but I didn't actually think that Semenyo and Doku had great games. Like again, I know Doku scored, but I don't really think it really there for them right now. Like I think Semenyo, if he give him a chance to score, he'll score. But I don't find like he doing much outside of that. Again, you can tell me if I'm wrong. But also today I didn't find they offered that much. Like in attack it was very tricky that, took away
Mhm.
most of the accolades.
Yeah, the one thing that you realize that have them, because people do have to realize Semenyo has been one of the most consistent players starting under Pep since he came.
Yeah, boy.
So
Yeah.
Semenyo and Doku give that energy. That's one thing. But I also agree with you. Watching from this game, I know that there have certain times where you don't get much from Doku and Semenyo. Looking at the first half, the way Chelsea set up, you were not getting anything from Doku or anything from the wide players. So,
Mm-hmm.
and well, there were moments when Doku did come off and Semenyo went over to Doku's side. I felt that he had a lot more. I felt like he looked like
Yeah.
he had a lot more to work with. But yeah, I feel like right now they do offer that extra work rate. But I guess the Cherky is somebody
Cool. All right.
who really pulls it together.
Mm-hmm. Let me go over to the Arsenal game and get this thing out so I don't have to talk about it for too long. So, Arsenal lost 1-2 to Bournemouth. Back-to-back seasons, actually, of losing 2-1 at home to Bournemouth. Where Bournemouth, of their 3 shots on target, scored twice, neither of which was a big chance, whereas Arsenal missed 4. But if I be honest with you, right, I went into this game, I got up at 7:23 because the game was 8 o'clock, right? And I went into the game, obviously, with a big win against Sporting in midweek. Some men decided to leave the Champions League early. I don't really know what that is like. But I came into this game hoping that Saka was going to be back, Timber was going to be back. And the way that, like, after the talk about Eze being ready, I thought he was going to start. So in my head, it's like, okay, we'll play Kai on top because it's a game where our team going to press a lot. So we need the centre forward who's more technical than the other. Eze, Saka, Timber gonna be back. We went out to play White 4 games in a row, that kind of thing. I want to wake up when I see the lineup. I just knew it was going to be long. Nobody in the front four is somebody that's comfortable being technical on the ball, dribbling, that kind of stuff. Nobody is comfortable being caught in tight spaces, being pressed by 2 men, and that just set up so well for Bournemouth game plan. Because funny enough, I believe it was Mark Stats who works for Stackbomb or one of them. He tweeted out Arsenal actually did really well in the first phase of the game because we were playing through the press very well. The problem was that when it got to the front line or Rice or Zubimendi, these men dog, making terrible decisions over and over. And that is the kind of moments I like Kai, you all know I love Kai, and I would tell you this man had a terrible first half. Terrible. And while I am here saying that I would prefer him play on top, is because he won't have be put in them positions where he had to be playmaking. Because that's not his skill. Even when he plays midfield, that is not his strength to be doing that. And I just find myself here again where I would really like to get back some men fit and men that I could count on in these situations to do things. And I mean, it is not ideal that we hear now where Saka was out. Again, I mentioned Timber and Calafiori. Odegaard was out. Eze only came back this week after being missing for the last 4 weeks. Marino and all out would have played that 10 position, and we just lacking the technicians for moments like this. We play a side where everybody whole game is predicated on movement. And nobody their game was predicated on getting on the ball and making things happen for those who are gonna move off the ball. And we paid the price for it. One what ultimately scored a goal. One was from a deflected cross that landed the Krupi. Very good finish. His second goal was fantastically created and finished by Alex Scott, who apparently is a Spurs fan. And by his
Yeah.
celebration, it looked like so his celebration was like somebody called him and he rushed on the phone, right? I don't know if like we probably tried to sign him and he turned me down, right? But bro, if you want to go and play for Spurs, if you would take a step down in the championship, by all means, bro, best of luck to you. Because I do actually like Alex Scott a lot. And so yeah, it's a bad moment. As I mentioned before, prior to the Carabao Cup final, we lost 3 games all season. Only Bayern had less with 2. Since then, we've lost 3 out of 4 games and exited 2 competitions, and now have brought the gap more into focus in the Premier League. And now, people might want to hear me as a fan crash out. Truth is, I'm not going to. I don't believe that that team is that team. If they end up being that team, I'm going to have to hold it. But I don't think that they are. I would really like that next week when we play the Etihad, if I could get back some of these players that I do believe have the mentality to stand up and fight. Funny enough, we have not lost at the Etihad the last few times that we've been there. And yeah, bro, go up and fight. Ultimately, we're back in the days now, and people again don't want to hear this. This is not the 90 point, 95 point title races anymore. This is a league where everybody is taking points off everybody. And the days that you aren't able to show up, not just with your best face, but at your floor level, even as the Cities and the Arsenal, these teams gonna punish you. Virgil, I now talk about that I lost 2-1 and they took 3 shots on target. West Ham beat them with 1 shot. Well, not beat them, draw with them with 1 shot. And then defended their lives out. It's just the quality of where the league is at right now. And you can't not show up. I'm all here to hear things about tactics and stuff like that with Arsenal. I've said that before. But if it was that, one, when most of the players are fairly available, they aren't missing a bunch of chances. And two, that we have these cluster injuries in the same positions. And I say fair enough, right? But I just think, boy, I've seen games where Haaland getting 1 shot. I've seen games where Arnautovic and Doku and Semenyo didn't have the best of games. And I've seen other players stepping up and make those moments count. But yet now, when Arsenal fans see Timber head it over the bar or Calafiori one, take a shot on the edge of the box, they vex. Because tactics. Because why it is that we not set it up for the wingers to get them opportunities. On the other hand, I've seen Gehi and Nico Riley scoring to get these men points back in the game. And so you as a fan are setting your bar at a certain point that your rivals are saying, now, well, if you play in such for that, we're going to embrace that and let those players make the difference for us to get the points over the line. So that is why I feel like, bro, I couldn't care who score. I couldn't care who is doing it. Bro, if you want to pop it up in the middle of the box, well, all right, we'll score and shoot. And let me see what's going on. And so, but the last thing I want to say before it is I'll let you all back in, and I apologize for this, right? Funny enough, I have managed to very much be social media detox since the pod. And when I tell you, that has done like wonders for my mood. Enough since since the game. Because like, I've realized I could have compartmentalized that. It was a bad day at the office. We obviously didn't play well. I think the coach set us up well. Did not set us up well, even with the injuries that we had. Right? I could say that. And I can live with it. Because most days, we should not have that much men missing, that much key men missing, that much men who do usually turn up in these type of games where they're going to get the space they're going to get. All right. Well, they catch me in the wrong week. I can live with that and go on. Not go to the dark places that everywhere else going. I was going to say something, I already forget. But, yeah, bye. Sorry, let's go. And I had anything else I wanted to say, right? But mind you, in this same game, Gyökeres got 3 chances in the end of the game to put this thing as a 2-all at least, right? And we'd get a point. And funny enough, the title would have not been City hands anymore. Well, it's not that it's in their hands, it's in either team hand because we played against each other. But it would have not been in their hand. But again, I was told, don't ask my striker to score his chances. That is too much to ask. He don't care build up, he don't care dribble, he don't care pass. Don't ask him to shoot shits. That is asking way too much of. Even when the keeper banned on the net, mind you, Don't ask him to do that. But yeah. So floor is open, guys. Say what you want to say. She'll go first now because we're just gonna say after that hate. So
I was going to
um,
actually go first for that same reason.
yeah, very unlucky from Arsenal. It's getting to business end of season, and I think more than anything else, I think all the extra pressure that the media's put on Arsenal, it's starting to get to
yeah,
them. It's
yeah,
starting to
yeah.
crack to them. It's starting to crack them a little bit, but I mean, they've been in this position multiple times. We know what it's like. They know what it's like to, fall short, fall at the last hurdle. So they have to wake up and they have to say, like I say, they have to go out and fight. They have to prove to themselves that they can get over the line. They can get this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
finish, even though you have Pep breathing down the neck. Um, was it maybe some, just trying to make football great again and set up a good game next week? Hopefully, I could hope. But
Yeah, maybe. Bro, honestly,
Sean, you
going
all
into
right?
next week, and I don't want to go. No, bro. The truth is, I'm fine, Like we lost. It happens, bro. It's happened. Like last week we lost this. Like okay, so again we didn't do a pod since before the cup final, right? I can tell you that in my own personal opinion, I think the cup final, I think yesterday lies on Arteta. I think that both games he had big calls to make because he had big players missing, and he had to make some risky risky calls to adapt to the situation at hand, and he failed both times. So for me in the final, I was never ever started Kai Havertz and Gyökeres ever in a game together. I'm never starting them together. And the reason being is that you leave yourself handicapped when it comes to changing the game because you never have another centre forward to bring on. Because then the other option is Jesus, and we both know that brother dead, though. He had nothing to offer, right? Secondly, was this weekend again, right? Okay, Saka out. You don't want to risk Eze yet, right? First of all, I am of the opinion if Eze could give you half a game, by better you start him, take the half, see how he feel at half time, and then sub him off, right? Because again, you don't play Gyökeres and Havertz together because neither of them are players you want on the ball created for the other one because that's not what his skill are. Kai on top could be a backboard, but in midfield, he can't be that, right? So you have to start somewhere like Trossard then. But you mainly call a starting Martinelli because he's scoring midweek. But then now, on top of all that, you sub off all the runners to sub on all on the ball men. And again, we lacked balance this weekend. And so there's two games that I said is on him. But then we lost to Southampton. In a game where we take 23 shots, my skipper missed from point blank range when the game was nil and give away the ball for you to concede. And so, like, I have a big gripe where people can't separate games that the players were set up to fail as compared to the players let down themselves. But because, again, Heat and Arteta, Heat and Arsenal is involved, we just, paint it all with one brush now. For me
Yeah.
personally, bro, I could compartmentalize a weekend like this now. Again, Bournemouth is a good side. Bro, they're undefeated in the last, like, 10 games. I think they have the longest unbeaten streak in the league. And they still have to play City. So yeah. But like it's happened. You rightly said what you said. Next week is what then end up being what matters in the end now, boy. Again, I would really like if I could get Saka back for that game and I could start Saka and all right, let me go for it, dog. Let me go tit for tat and see what happened. Last time I go on the Etihad, these buggers need a red card to draw 2-all in a round. Don't study that. Yeah, dog. Let me go. But let me see who rise because the truth is, by shows I am tired of waiting to see what's the climax of this whole project. It could be that this might be it. That it could be about your second places. The other climax could be that we're gonna win a league title and that is it. The other climax could be that our league title starts our era. All those things are still possibilities until everything is written in pen. But then I want to see it, because we're going to the Etihad next week, dog. I don't afraid them. And I know they don't afraid us, dog. And I know that them teams hate each other, dog. So you know what, dog? Let we go, dog. Let we go. Go there and let we see what's going on, dog. You come, and funny enough, I don't want to say argue that more pressure is on City. But the onus is on City on that game to get a win more than us. Because at the end of the day, if it draws, it's in our hands, right? And so, all right, dog, let me go there, let me fight, dog. Because I don't think that these players lack the abilities to win. Everything is our mental. And I know that until they get over the line, is gonna be harder for them. But guess what? There's a lot of players in this team want to be considered world class and want to be champions. You know what champions just do, dog? They just lose to Barca 3-0 in the first half in the first leg of a tie, but they come out with 4-0 in Anfield. They would lose to how much
Bayern
time
two
Real
one
had
this Bayern two
exactly?
one this week, and then we win 3-0. Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Things like that just
uh-huh.
happen, bro. Things like
Right,
that just
right.
happen.
No, but you get my point, right? You watch insurmountable odds, or you watch everybody heckling here. You watch everybody try to say that you can't do it, and you stand up and you get it done, dog. If Rice really want to be PFA player, you know, next week, dog, go and pick Rodri pocket and then score rocking pass Donnarumma, boy. I like Virgil. Like, tell me if I'm wrong, right? Wrong here, right? You was dominated in terms of chances against you in a Champions League final. Do you care? Because Rodri went to score a bang off the top of the box. Do you care? Was the tactics there? Was it like, no, I fed up saying, look, I think people is over fixate on tactics when it comes to discussing football because ultimately talent dictates everything in this game, though.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw what Balassi said, but I agree with this a lot. You say wingers nowadays have like a 90-95% successful pass rate, but you
Yeah,
need a winger taking on a man, whip it in across. You don't care
exactly.
about that, yeah.
And this is the thing, right? Like tactics is how you plan to stop your side score, stop the other team scoring, and how you plan to try and score, right? But ultimately, bro, like I'm gonna use extreme example here, right? Take me, take prime Lionel Messi, right, dog? If you give Messi 10 shots and you give me a 1,000 shots, dog, against Donnarumma, right? Who all your money on scoring more shots?
John?
I appreciate
Nah,
that.
nah, but I like my money safe, but I go to Messi.
Exactly, right? Your money on Messi, right, dog? And ultimately, dog, tactics is all well and good. Dog, talent about who makes the most in the moment is what matters at the end, bro. At the end of the season, I all for here revision on certain tactics. I do think that because of the depth that Arsenal has had, the injuries that we've suffered, it has been underspoken about, and I keep saying that. Because, bro, I haven't had Marino since the start of the year, though. Odegaard must literally, he's had 5 different injury misses. Saka has had 3. Kai missed 90% of the season. I only get to see Eze and Saka play one game together so far this whole season, bro. That would have been my choice of attackers, dog. But we here. And he's still here. This depth allow it to be here. I'll make it happen next week. Shivs, I'll cut you off. I'm not going to cut you off. Finish the way it's kind of budget. Could say something and we can talk about territory. So.
Yeah, no, that was kind of pretty much it. I just wanted to bring up the Balassi point, but I did that. And yeah, I think it just relies on Arsenal's mentality. They've been here before. They know what it feels like to
Yeah.
get crushed. So they need to dig
And
down
they should,
and
but that is exactly it.
flip off.
They know what it's
Yeah,
like to be second places, though. You had to
yeah,
be
but they
determined
just
not to
need to
let that
dig
happen
deep
again.
and
Yeah,
exactly. No, you don't want the same crummy feeling come the end of May or June or whenever the season finishes.
yeah.
You don't want to. Yeah.
Virgil,
Yeah, I mean, most of my points I will save for when we talk the title race. But just on the game itself, um, going back to what you mentioned with the lineup as well. I honestly felt from the moment I saw Kai Havertz behind Gyökeres, I felt that if I'm from the outside looking and realize that it doesn't feel like it'll work, I feel like Arsenal fans would understand a lot more that putting Kai Havertz in that position, knowing that
Virgil,
he,
I know I say I'm not gonna cut all you off, right?
yeah,
Let me tell you something. Aside from Kai, right?
hmm
Madueke, Gyökeres, Martel, your lineup has been fielded 5 times in the league at this point. You want to know how much times we win?
Twice?
I would say once.
Once. Ironically, it was against Bournemouth too, mind you.
hmm
But that was their last loss. Bro, it doesn't work. None of these players are creative enough to play to facilitate the others. And he keeps playing it. This is what I'm saying. This was on the manager, bro. This was entirely on the manager. You know what you have available. And the one player you have that's comfortable receiving in pockets and help his spray pass for everybody else, your bench. Because Martinelli score and you want to reward him.
Yeah, and even that right
You have to talk about a
hand,
little bit, boy.
yeah, even that right hand side also, I'll just the likes of Ben White and Zuamendi. I find they have been quite shaky in these
Yeah, yeah,
games
yeah.
right now. They have been quite shaky, but I felt like from since the Carabao Cup, and then after everything else that had happened, a lot of teams are kind of figuring out or learning from other teams, I would say, how to play against Arsenal. Because around this end of the season, many teams were trying to, we saw many teams before playing very passive, whatever. There are a lot of teams in this league right now who have something to play for or trying to avoid something. Just it's like the example of teams right now going to Spurs. Early in the season, teams playing against Spurs may have been a little reserve. But teams
Mm-hmm.
know that Spurs, the way how Spurs playing right now, they have this weakness. They're looking at Spurs as we could get 3 points out of them. So even when teams go up against Arsenal, they're looking at them. They know that Arsenal are not these players that we are seeing being fielded are not the first choice. Madueke, Havertz, Martelli are not the first choice. So we understand that they are not the one. They are not going to be the best on the ball. The chemistry is not really there. So when teams play Arsenal, and I feel like Bournemouth realize is to go at Arsenal. And I feel like even down to that midfield, I feel like Rice is there. I feel like sometimes Rice have to do a lot, but Zubimendi and some of
Though
them in
sometimes I
that back,
think he does take on too much responsibility for himself and just end up messing up certain things. So.
it's very true.
Cause
Yeah,
like,
he literally does.
Yeah.
He literally does that.
cause like I think like he tried a play make in the absence of a playmaker today, and bro, some of the passes that was either overhit or under hit, and like play your game, dog. But like the only thing I would disagree with it is because like I know like what y'all did in Carabao Cup final was like block up the lanes, made it hard to play. Bro, we broke their press so often today, and that yesterday rather. Havertz alone mess up 4 counters after we break the press, dog. And again, I'm saying this as a Havertz fan, right? But dog, he was terrible, dog. Because again, you're being placed in a role that is not your strength, and then you're messing up on people vexer. Now, mind you, he also messed up point blank header on a corner right before we end up scoring, right? Which is his bread and butter. He should have done better there. And Saleh asked me about that. Mind you, I was talking about the 3 chances I just saw miss. Not the chance back in the 32nd minute. The 3 chances I just saw miss by Gyökeres. But Virgil, I'm gonna stay with you. Talk title race. Tell me how you're
Yeah.
feeling about it, and then tell me how you're feeling about the Etihad next week.
Honestly, I'll always go back to this Liverpool game when we had them. I felt like that game felt like a make or break. And for this title race, from everything that I have been witnessing, I honestly felt that it was all in Arsenal hands right now. Don't get me wrong, I feel like right now, league is still in Arsenal hands. Because I'm not somebody who will
Technically,
sit down
yeah.
here and say, oh, well, looking at it, Man City have this fire, they could go on and win. The league is very unpredictable. I know the same way teams could turn up against Arsenal, they could turn up against City. Teams that we have to play still have a lot to
Mm-hmm.
fight for. So for this title race, right, all this does is just for the entertainment factor. It makes next week a lot more entertaining. The whole world is gonna be watching that as a big match to watch. But nothing much has changed. It's still in Arsenal hands. I hate having to rely on other teams to get the job done. I feel like all we could do is go and play that football and get that win, and then it comes down to us being level on points if we do win that other game in hand. So
Mm-hmm.
would I right now, am I confident because the form we in? Yes. Would I wish we could be in Arsenal position? Yes. Because right now we Arsenal is they sit right now in first. They are ahead on goal difference. Arsenal right now, I feel right now it is in Arsenal hands. Arsenal have made a mess in the past couple game weeks where they literally did it to themselves and they brought City back into it. But the same way, that's how things were quick to change many game weeks ago, looking back at Brighton, looking back at West Ham, looking back at when we played Chelsea, all those draws, anything at that point. So right now, I feel like title race is there. The players, it is more obvious for the players. You hope that they could go out right now, or who could go out right now next week and get the job done. But
Yeah.
right now, it's still in Arsenal hands.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Shivs, I'll let you go after, right? Because, obviously we both are the teams in it, right? And look, Shivs, I know you're probably going to say you're more confident of City, bro. And I don't get any wrong, right? Though, because, again, they've been here and they've done it, right? But, like, you're right, Virgil. Like, this whole the narrative swings with every game, right? Which is natural, right? It happens, right? But, like, City have not won a Premier League game in over a month prior to this weekend. Also, City have had 3 wins in the last 7 in all competitions, and those 3 wins, ironically, was this last 3 games here, right? And like, I don't think that they've been on this rip-roaring form or stuff like that. Is that again, this league is very hard, continues to be very hard, and it's about making the most of when you have your moments in these games, bro. And for me, going into next week, I'm not gonna sit down here and say that, oh, I'm so confident of putting them to the sword and that kind of thing and whatever. But I think it's a case of we have an opportunity to etch your name in history and to right wrongs of the past. Go out there and make sure that you don't lose. Obviously, you want to win the game. Draw and make sure that it stays in your hand. I don't want to see us be overzealous because we so want to right wrongs. We so want to go out there and to win, to just to take away all the talk and whatever. Bro, I couldn't care. It's very easy for me to do this. Take off my phone and not have to hear anybody else knowing that we with our draw we keep City at bay. But I do think we can go there and win. It have players in this team that I have proven in past seasons that they can be counted on in clutch moments. Show up again, show up at the Etihad, and let me see what happens. And I think it's going to be a good game, you know. I think it's a case of that City will start very good, and you have to weather that storm, and then bring yourself back into the game, take advantage of where you can. I said this before the cup final, so I'm going to say it before the Etihad. If we do not score a corner against Donnarumma, I am going to triple off again. And, I mean, I'm tell all this something, right, dog? If all they believe in stories, right, dog? I have not seen, because I was not into football yet, but I do know that Arsenal have won the league at Anfield, have won the league at Old Trafford, have won the league at White Hart Lane.
Kind of
For the
completely
story, we can complete it. Well, add another one rather. And essentially win it at the Etihad. We'll see. Again, more players not in the best moments of form. But guess what, Virgil? 4 weeks ago, City was off the back of 4 losses and won that final. Form could just go out the window in moments of this rivalry. So you know what, dog? They ended a poor run of form to go on and win. Can you put an end to all the talk? Go on and win. We see what happens. Be real life Gyökeres start that game. Virgil, I will come to your house and personally shake your hand and tell you congrats on the title. Because I don't want to hear about how much goals he have. I don't want to hear none of that, dog. I don't care. Do not start that man, dog. Off the bench, sure, but do not start that man. Shivs, after this, we're going to go through the other Premier League teams very quickly and start to talk about Champions League. So, Shivs, lastly on the title race.
I think it all just comes down to Arteta because like I say, it's not completely dead in the waters yet. He still has the potential
and if the players come back.
Well, that's what I say to it. It depends on what he tells them.
Like, let me be real, right? City next week gonna play Haaland, Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Chucky, Doku, and Semenyo, right? Like we all know that, and as you would, right? My equivalent.
I expect them to have a keeper somewhere today.
In my mind, they don't want to start one. If Gyökeres started, they don't need one. In my mind, my version of that would be Eze Zubimendi Rice, Saka, this game Martinelli and Trossard, right? Not Trossard, Havertz, right? The issue with that is 2 of them, man, I don't even know if going to be fit. One of them still trying to build back their fitness after missing the whole season, and then one of them going through a confidence crisis in Zubimendi. Because ever since he gave the ball against United, this man doesn't want to play no passes forward, dog. So, if I could get him, man, like the truth is, like I say this here, right, and in front of Tole, right? If next week we go there and we play that 11, play that front 6, and I could get a Calafiori and Timber, I'll be very confident of winning. If I could get that 11. But I don't know. And I won't know till then. And knowing Arteta, he's going to destroy every camera in the vicinity of Soho reality. I will never find out who it is fit to play the game or not. But yeah, shit.
But yeah, I still think it's all in Arteta's hands. And I watched this good video the other day talking about the difference in mentality between being the hunter and the hunted. Arteta's been the hunted for a while now, and he just can't mentally collapse on what is it, Sunday? Like, he just can't afford to can't afford to overthink it, can't afford to tell the players the wrong things. It's all down to him really at the end of the day, and this way he steps up and proves he's truly a world-class manager. And maybe Rice
Yeah.
could bang in 2 more free kicks. I know he does that
That's
around this
all.
time of year.
Not much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So player from this game, because we barely talk about Bournemouth. Bournemouth, they pressed really well, guys. But I want to pick Krupi, to be honest. I didn't think he had that great of a game. I think he had a good moment.
FPL
I thought
points.
Alex Scott had a better game, and I would prefer to put Alex Scott if you all are okay
Yes.
with that.
Yeah.
I'm actually starting to kind of veto this team of the week this because guys, I mean, we really wasn't as consistent with it as we should have been. But all right, we'll see how it goes. Let me try and fly through every other game remaining, right? So Spurs lost 1-0.
Yeah.
Xhaka crashed it on them again. Not even Mukele, by the way, guys, who's been one of the signings of the season. Another goal for him. And with that result, plus West Ham destroying Wolves on Friday gone, it means that as it stands, Spurs are in the relegation zone. So yeah, I'll be sad to see them go because there was a sure 6 points for me and a sure 1 point for Virgil. But I personally want to see them go, not just as
Virgil,
a
I think you
Arsenal
muted, bro.
fan.
By the way, bro.
Was that?
I think Virgil muted.
Yeah, I was. But I was just saying, I'll be glad to see them go.
Yeah. But I want to see them go because I think that is so emblematic of where the league is now in terms of you can't just feel there's a big side and you'll get away with poor recruitment, poor tactics, poor creating of a group,
Scouting.
that kind of thing, bro. Like you only watch all the teams that are above them, like right above them. They
That's
have,
basically whole
with the
league.
exception of Leeds. Huh?
You see the teams above them, that's basically whole league.
No, well, with the exception of Leeds, right? Like if you watch all the teams from Bournemouth in 11 go down, all these teams have had years on years on years of good recruitment, good consistent recruitment, good building, good coaching, good consistency behind a philosophy. You know? So yeah. Nori Murki is what no, I forget his team though. Yeah, forget it. I did not watch the Aston Villa game because I was watching the Sunderland game. By the way, big up Sunderland again, big up my boy Xhaka. By the way, guys, we in that time of the year where people talk about team of the year, right? Let me make this abundantly clear. Anybody that submits a team of the season that does not have Xhaka in it, I am not considering it. It is invalid to me. I do not care what anybody says. Oh, this man has to be in the team of the season, dog. Leading the Sunderland side to top half finish, I am refusing to accept anything else.
And
Say what you want to do.
even if you say you don't watch Sunderland, even if you just watch like I'll say 40% of Sunderland games,
Yeah,
you will
dog.
see how
Xhaka's
important
always there.
Xhaka is. Because this game,
Yeah.
Xhaka could have leave with something, but he was just
Facts.
controlling that team.
On the other hand, Villa and Forest both back from Europe exploits where they both had positive results. I think Forest draw away to Porto, but Aston Villa won 3-1 or 3-0. Villa drew here. That point puts them level with United, who obviously plays tomorrow. 3 points ahead only of Liverpool, who won this weekend. But Chelsea obviously lost. So, I'm praying. So, Everton and Brentford drew this weekend, right? Which is the two teams chasing. I personally think Everton have a better chance because I just think they more informed. Now, if Everton manage to sneak that fifth spot and is Liverpool and a Chelsea or Chelsea and a Villa that miss out, dog, I am going to pee myself laughing if that is the outcome. As I said, Everton and Brentford through Keenan Dewsbury Hot score Igor Thiago. You know, so far enough, right? Igor Thiago initials is IT and his number is 9. A little while ago, Brentford had a striker who initials was IT and Ivan Toney, and who also scored a bunch of goals for them. And funny enough, their profile is very similar of players. Crystal Palace won 2-1 this week. Hopefully they generated some form before they play City. What else, boy? Yesterday, I mentioned Brentford. And Liverpool won 2-0. Rio anymore became the youngest goal scorer at Anfield since. Any guesses?
What's someone Brazil? Not Brazil. Was he one Portuguese guy that played there a little bit?
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Operator midfielder.
I was going to guess
remember.
Owen.
Nah, not so far back. He is a former Arsenal and Chelsea and Liverpool player and City player. Raheem the Dream Sterling, the
Oh,
youngest
yeah.
goal scorer since Raheem Sterling. Or breaking Raheem Sterling record, something like that. And then obviously Salah scored, and look, we're not gonna stay too long on it, but obviously Salah is leaving at the end of the season. A huge name is leaving the league. He will be missed in terms of name. He will not be missed in terms of treachery.
Yeah.
But obviously, he had a very lustrous career. It's too bad he probably got a whole next 4 goals in midweek against PSG, but we'll talk about that later on. But obviously, a very good win for Liverpool. They needed to stop the rot because they did not win the last 3 games in all competitions. Obviously, holding 4 to City, then losing in midweek to PSG, and then obviously losing before that to Brighton. And the last one, Brighton won 2-0 at Burnley, and that kind of wraps up.
I just want to add with that Salah thing. It will be so poetic if he goes Old Trafford and I hit them a crazy score like
I had
One
trick just
last
for old
round
time's
there.
sake.
Old time's
that
sake.
way.
And lastly, before we talk about Champions League, is that in La Liga, somebody played Friday night.
Is it time?
So Shivs, let me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
Before Mbappe reached, y'all did the league and Champions League double. Since
Correct.
then, Mbappe
Nah,
has
life is
joined, and
perfect.
y'all have gone 2 years with no major
Without a
trophies,
trophy.
unless you do a madness in Munich on Wednesday.
When we do the madness, yeah.
Right, sorry. 'Cause last time you came in with this much confidence, it beat City 3-0. So I mean, I ain't fighting you, right? But I said time and time again, bro, that this move was not a good move for Mbappe. It was not a good move for Madrid. It was going to cause too much chaos. It was going to cause too much. I know I'm not talking about tactics, right? But it caused too much of a tactical conundrum in terms of maximizing Vinny and maximizing Mbappe. And I said this before, right? At that time, we was going into an era, or we were in an era rather, of where people were painting this era of is Mbappe versus Haaland, right? I kept saying that if this man really wants to elevate his legacy, the truth is La Liga isn't at a place where it had somebody already established of that name he could go against. Because Vinny was at Madrid, right? And Barca broke. Didn't go Barca, right? Though
Unlucky.
he had to come to Prem. I said it, he had to come to Prem. And he had to come either Liverpool or Arsenal because they were the sides that were facing off against Haaland. And you would have get to recreate that rivalry of Haaland versus Mbappe domestically. You know?
Yep.
But since then, he's gone and unsettled the European champions, has told Vinicius that this is my side now, has executed some players that we are yet to see fit again. He said Endrick out on loan. And how much managers you had since then? 4? 3 since he gone?
3, yeah.
And despite him winning the Pichichi,
Pichichi, yeah.
last season, you do feel underwhelmed by him. And that
Yeah.
says a lot.
Yep.
So, after all that, there you go.
Yeah, you put it perfectly. Mbappe, he come. I mean, it's a bit of a background for the past hour. Defund Mbappe because he's still got 3 years left him. I can't do 3 years trophyless again, bro. It's not gonna happen. And
For personal
everything was
reasons, right?
perfect.
How much
Everything's perfect.
how much granted that he doesn't renew his current contract, right? How much he got worth for Vinny, boy?
That number just don't exist. I ain't talking about sending him to Arsenal, bro. You want to send Gabriel and Saliba the other way? And you can have him for free.
Easy.
Have him.
Easy.
Take, bro, please take him.
Hey, you
Yeah,
want
'cause like I
nine
said-
our hot Gyökeres who just win the good Muller Award, who might
You
be a
know what?
Premier League champion.
You know what, bro? At least Gyökeres will crash the box when I ask him to. And when he get a pass at the top of the box, he will turn and shoot. And not just trying to flick it back off to somebody else. Because you know what? I just can't, bro. I just can't.
Yeah, Gyökeres might look good in La Liga, you know, for real.
Yeah, sure. I don't mind trying at this point because, like you said, Gonzalo Garcia has been shot and executed out back in the Bernabeu like 2 weeks ago. I haven't seen that guy in forever. And bro, I can't anymore with him. The dictator Mbappe memes are funny, though, so that keeps a smile on my face.
Yeah, but it really is funny. But obviously, y'all drew hosting Girona on Friday. Go on.
Big Thomas Lamar sinking over.
Fede has got.
Fede, yeah, bro. Fede's got another
Thomas
banger, but I
Lamar.
mean, yeah, Thomas Lamar doing the title hopes in Big 2026, bro.
And that
Sad
left
times.
the title, given that Barca won 4-1 on the weekend with a 9-point gap. Obviously, there's still a Clasico to go. But my feeling is that you don't feel very confident.
Nah, and then too, if everything goes according to plan, Barca could actually win La Liga officially in the Clasico. So John it ain't looking good. John Virgil it ain't looking good right now, guys.
Yeah,
Only
I
hope
mean,
is Wednesday. That's
yeah,
my
'cause
only
I mean,
hope.
what do you call it?
Um,
From that game, I obviously watched that game because I like to follow Girona, and
Feed up.
honestly, from that game, the way Girona set up, I was like, okay, not really looking too confident because had a kind of false nine, but it literally felt that the attack was okay. Vinny have his side and Mbappe have his side. We seeing option A and option B. Which one? Who could come out on top?
mhm.
But it
Yeah,
seems every time it goes to Vinny kind of felt more of like he playing for the team, and Mbappe felt like he just playing for himself. Every time it comes to Mbappe, it have moments where you felt that even Mbappe could also create chances, but plenty of the options he was trying felt like why? Why? It felt that he and all felt like, okay, well, you see, I could keep trying, I'm bound to score a goal. And then 90 minutes come, and he's like, oh, okay, well, realize it didn't work out. I felt like Mbappe was just not playing for the team at all.
yeah. Plays for himself. We should have a pen with the I forget
Oh,
who
yeah,
was elbowing
yeah, yeah,
Mbappe.
Yes, bro. That
that was
was
Mean,
a
happened.
bro.
That was
pen. That
happened.
was
But
a
bro,
That
pen.
was happened.
look, we can't be scraping for pens against Girona
But
to
you know
save
what's
a
the
three
irony?
points. It's just
Shows like a
bad.
few weeks ago when Mbappe was injured, he was feeling so much better about the team, which says so much, right? Like it actually does say so much. So with that being said, here what, right? Let me just checkbook out.
Yeah, bro.
Here what, all right?
I saw some
I'm going
Mbappe
on.
didn't train today, and
I'm
that's
going
the
to write
best news
here
I've gotten in like 2 weeks.
140 million. Check plus again. You back Odegaard, right? Again, you back Odegaard, and you can send Vinny my way, right, dog?
Send Gabriel the other
Yeah,
way. No, no, no,
Odegaard,
not even
what?
for Vinny. But send Gabriel the other way for Mbappe have a deal up.
Nah, wait, wait,
Yeah.
how you doing? Whatever. Yeah, if
One
you know me,
one
though,
for
Gabriel's one of
one
my
for ten
favorite players
Odegaard,
ever.
boy.
You
You might get
I'll
Brian
take
boy.
Saliba. I'll take Saliba. I'll take Calafiori. I'll take anybody.
Anybody? Well, now we
No,
talking
no, no,
because
no, no,
I
not
have
anybody. Not
a.
anybody. Not anybody. Let me
Hey,
retract that. Let
to
me
be
retract that.
fair, no, wait, all seriousness, that to be fair, my backup center backs are real good at all. You see that Christian Mosquera fella, dog? He is
Yeah.
proper, dog. I feel actually sorry for him. Like, he has to play behind. Well, I think he's the best player in world football right now, dog. Like, it's very hard to break into that, you know? But off camera, we gonna work out something because big man thing, dog. If I go next season watching Trossard and Martinelli, mind you, I really want Martinelli to play these days, 'cause at least, right? I might have to carry myself out back and do I Mbappe though because I don't feel able again dog. Like midweek, right? And we can shift to the Champions League here because right there. And we just get my game on the way because like obviously nobody watched my tie except me because Madrid was playing Bayern at the same time, right? Again, right? Talking about tactics and whatever. How we approach sporting, I was very happy with because Champions League is two-legged affairs. You have to make the most of your home games because the away games are hard, right? So we went away first. I was totally okay with yeah, bro. We keep it calm. If we get a goal, cool. If not, we don't let them build momentum. We don't let them get into the game, that kind of thing. And we kept the game relatively dead until the last like 5, 10 minutes where they had two chances and then we brought up players that did stuff, right? Great, cool, lovely. You see what Martinelli do for that goal, bro? Fantastic. The problem is I'm gonna get that once ever so often, and then I can't ask that of him again. Because Lord knows I can't. I'm not allowed to ask my forwards to beat their defenders. I'm not allowed to ask that, though. You know. Funny enough, though, the last few games I've seen Gabriel do more in the Milan final too than some of my midfielders in it. I see Gabriel breathe a man
That's
today
just, that's not what you
and
want to
try to
hear.
slide it to score. But whatever. But yeah, so we obviously won Kai Havertz scored off the bench because having one on the bench and bringing and starting the other one is a very good strategy. Don't start both of them. And yeah, so we're going back to sporting. Given how we're playing right now, I'm not gonna start here and be confident. I do think that we will go through. We have the one goal lead. So there is something there for us. Obviously, Sporting gonna come and have to try to get something out of the game, which I think lends to us having probably a more open game, and then maybe Gyökeres to get his game off. Back against Portuguese opposition, he might finally do something. But yeah, But like I said, I'm not really that confident. I would really like if Saka and Timber could be back for that game so they could get a game in the legs before the Etihad. But then, guys, like ultimately, Arsenal need to win things, right? And I'm not denying that, eh? But there's things that just get taken for granted under this Arteta time, eh? Because as it stands, it looks like we're gonna go to the semi-finals, right? Arsenal have never in the history been to back-to-back semi-finals. We are on the precipice of doing that. And in fact, since he's come in, since Arteta's been here, the lowest we've left the Champions League is at the quarterfinals and it was a 3-2 game across both legs against Bayern Munich. Like
I
we
don't shame
tend to do
losing to
really
Bayern.
well now. So fair enough. And y'all have anything you want to say about this tie? Anything in particular?
Without
I
Sporting
know
do
it
the
had nothing
back-to-back
much to
comebacks.
this say. Yeah, I mean the difference was
Yeah.
though, they did come back at home, right? Whereas away they hold 3 to Bodo, and I think like that is kind of what does not play in their favor. Like I don't think Sporting had that good of a away record even in the group stage. At home though, they beat
Different.
PSG and thing in the home stage, you know. But when Gabriel and Saliba rock up, real cojones now. But yeah, Virgil, anything at all?
Nah, I feel like how does the Sporting plays Sporting kind of plays a way that kind of favors Arsenal also too. So wouldn't be a one-sided game. So.
Let me
But
tell
I
you
have my
something,
money on
right?
Arsenal.
Let me tell you something, right? This Sporting side is all the evidence you need to not buy strikers from Portugal, right? Because Gyökeres the last 2 years, right, scored 97 goals in 102 games, right? Something like that, right? The replacement that they signed has a similar goal record. It's something like 13, 35 or something, right, dog? So clearly, it's not necessarily about quality. The league is just where it is, right? Do not sign strikers from there. Do not. Somebody going to buy Luis
Yeah.
Suarez. I want to know if they get
What
robbed.
happened?
That league is definitely they. I have a feeling that they run like some organized crime because they I feel like they do those things to inflate numbers so more money could come to the league because we're
Yeah.
looking at Darwin Nunes. We're looking at we're looking at a lot of
No,
players.
there's some incidents that came out of Portugal. Di
Bro,
Maria.
no. The last two players that I think come straight from Portugal to the Prem that did good is Bruno and Ruben Diaz. Like, I can't tell you who else comes
Yeah.
straight from Portugal. Like, even Mateus Nunes, who at City now, right? Like,
Well,
he's not good as a midfielder. Like, he's been a very good right back, right? But, like, it's not even to say, like, what he made his name as, he came to the league being. He had to reinvent
yeah.
himself. I can't tell you who else comes straight from that league and look good, dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Ronaldo.
Bro, look how
That was a different
2004 or
time.
something
That was a
shit.
different era.
Yeah. That was the era of if a man play good against you, there's a high chance you might try to sign them after.
Yeah.
Yo,
I wish
Good
we
old
can do some
days.
other.
they have Thiago Silva going back. That means how it is. You felt that
Oh yeah, bro.
Oh,
Thiago
you
Silva
don't
still plays in
you
that
don't
league. I
have
forgot
you
that.
you don't have enough legs for the Brazilian league, so you want to go and relax in the
boy,
In
Portuguese
Portugal,
league.
Portugal.
bro, that says so much. Alright, cool. Next up, alright, Shibs, let me get you out of the way. 2-1 Bayern. This was a Neuer masterclass, right? And I mean, this is what I'm saying that ultimately big keepers for big nights. Because funny enough, I also got my match in our game, right? And no matter how much, again, tactics and stuff, Champions League is about making the most of your moments, right? Neuer stood up and literally rolled back the years because this brother, not just was he saves, and it wasn't just he saves. Neuer have this pass that he have unlocked where the defender would rush in, or the attacker rather would try to come closer. This brother just do a fade away pass that is chip right over the man head to the player behind him. Like this is not a long ball, guys. This is an inch perfect chip that is go over the man, dog. And he still does it. It is actually
Mhm.
amazing. He was so good. He was my match for all the right reasons. Mbappe had a lot of chances. Vinny had a lot of chances. When Jude came on, they played really well. However, I don't want to take away from how good Bayern were for about 45 minutes of the game. Because I thought they were real. Honestly, shifts from the stuff I did see after, Bayern really looked like they had dominated for the early parts of it. Kane scoring a meaningful goal. The Lord might be returning soon if that's the case. And the only say with another assist. And Luis Diaz had a goal, but I've been told more than once that he didn't have that good of a game. I also heard the kind of stuff Police did to Carreras not allowed on certain
Yeah,
other websites. So
I was not about to bring that up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was terrible.
hear this, right? Hear this, right? I just want to bring up some hypocrisy, right? And this is biasness and whatever, but I just want to bring up some hypocrisy, right? Last year, when Saka torment Madrid on one leg with his only start back since injury. Oh, is a Madrid side are not there. Blah 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 blah. Take. Win the two free kicks for I score from alright, that matter, right? How to show the quality. So chip Courtois in the Bernabeu. Not Lunin, eh? Courtois in the Bernabeu. Oh, rah, 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 rah. That is it, dog. No, Carreras. What was Carrington product? Only say best right again in the world, dog. And I'm just here like, all it
Well,
is
and
don't like
only
my
say
boy. Just come out and say you don't like my boy now, boy, because it might be easier. It might be easier. But only said that had an absolute fantastic game, bro. And he is one of the best right wingers in the world at this moment in time. And so obviously Liverpool actually link to sign him, right? I think some of this is fan manifestation. I'll be real though.
yep.
I don't think Olise should come back. And not just because it'll be fine to see Liverpool in the mud. Bro, you made the step to this club and y'all are doing stuff there that y'all are actually a force in Europe again. Though. That Bayern actually feels like a legit force. Like they didn't feel like that for a few years, but they're actually feeling like that now. I think it'll be a step backwards coming to the Prem. You know, like he showed what he had to show in the Prem. He was a very good player at Palace. He got his move because of how good he was at Palace. You don't need to come back, Reds. You good.
Yeah, and
Virgil,
a lot
yeah,
of
listen.
the negative side about the Prem behind the scenes, all those things too. Well, you say been through all that, he experienced that. He literally find a club where he's the main man. Things is looking good for him. A lot of the fans of Bayern Munich love him. Yeah, it makes no sense to come back and I said there's no point to prove for him to come back in the Prem.
Yeah. Anything from the game, Virgil? And what's your thoughts before I actually going into the second leg?
Yeah, I would say honestly, as much as looking at from the games before, and you feel like Bayern went into as favorites. Yeah, honestly, I give Madrid credit. I honestly don't find that it was as bad. I feel like Madrid really did a good job keeping themselves in the tie because they're going into this. We say everybody will give a lot of praise to Bayern, the performance they have. But your Champions League, the way how it is, the way how it is, yeah, you could say, yeah, Bayern get a big win in the Bernabeu, yeah. But you're acting like if Madrid can't go to Allianz and get a favorable result. They
I don't think we can, bro.
literally could do that. So I honestly feel that you still have to give a lot of credit to Madrid, and it's not going to be easy for Bayern. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah. Shevs, Ed Rudiger play against Bayern?
Yeah.
No, I asking. Like he
Uh,
was
uh,
even in the team against Girona. So
rotating
he
him, I
okay?
guess. As far as I know,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. I think you just
Well,
rotated him.
obviously, Mendy came back last game.
General
Lord
Mendy.
knows the black magic that they play out. They put on
Dog.
this man for him to be fit.
You know how crazy this was at a
Because
point
I
in
thought he was
time.
out for the season, you know. I honestly
Me too,
thought
me
he was
too.
in.
Again, because he came back, he had an amazing 45 against Man City. I thought that was it. Like, we're just not going to see him again. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy that we're at a point of the season where that's like the 45 minutes going to give us against Bayern. That's the window to come back. That's all we're going to get. You
yeah,
talk about Neuer. Yeah, I just want to say a vintage Neuer performance. Kind of get to our own medicine where keep us safe and everything. Courtois, come back soon, please. But yeah, we got a big injury boost as well. Mbappe didn't train we squad today, so yeah, things are looking good. That's all I can say so far. As of right now, things are looking good.
yeah. Going
If we
into the
resurrect
second leg
Gonzalo
though,
Garcia, we could be
what
into
you,
something.
what you feeling? And how you feeling?
Bro, the same 4-4-2 that was working when it was Mbappe was out. It wasn't broke. Why? I don't know why we changed it. It was working.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be honest, Chefs. I do think all you're going out.
Yeah, probably.
I don't have the belief that you're gonna turn it around. For
Yeah,
one goal
I
and
can see that.
and one goal and Real Madrid in the Champions League against anybody except Arsenal, I would not count them out now.
It was 3 goals
You
to be
know,
fair, but
bro,
yeah,
it was.
look, what it
Let
all
me
takes
take you
one
some
kick of
heritage,
football.
yeah, bro. Before last time, it was 0-0 at Highbury, and then it was
We're
1-0.
just talking about Highbury,
I
yes.
thought about height,
Well,
yeah.
that's the only two times we match up against each other. You want if you're watching this, I can send you a video right now of Rice two free kicks. If you forgot what it looked
I
like,
don't need
yeah.
to see that AI generated content anymore, bro.
um, Virgil, you giving them any hope going to Bayern?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I feel like
More hope than me.
you know, we forgetting Bayern have a certain man named Upamecano in the back, and
Dog, facts.
Madrid also
Hey, I let me be real,
carry.
right, guys. We forgetting a key factor here. Olise and Upamecano, they want to
Yeah,
go the World Cup,
it had
guys.
not
Wanna go
like
World
World
Cup?
Cup for
So
them.
they
It had
might
not like
trigger
World
it.
Cup for
Might
them.
Right, sure that.
It had not like World Cup for them.
Yeah,
So
And I
I don't
mean,
think what where the more valuable.
Mhm.
Bro. You can play Champions League next year. Can play the World Cup next year.
That's true. That's very true. And one thing about any Champions League, the best team sometimes don't always make it to the final or with it. So
Yeah, Inter Milan last season.
yeah,
Perfect
so
example.
yeah, so you have yeah, very true. So you have and look, Madrid have players with that firepower. They have Valverde, they have those players. So if they just get right on the day, they focus on this game.
yeah.
It's Madrid,
Yeah,
Madrid,
bro.
Madrid
It
can do
just
it.
takes one kick of the football to change everything.
Chiv's caught or like for sure all this game, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lunin gonna start. There's a slight chance he's back, but 95% sure Lunin gonna start.
Yeah. Well, I know they started due to make sure that he's fully fit.
Yeah, he
And I mean,
should start as well.
yeah,
Hopefully.
I think he should start him. Too many. Start get back the diamond, bro. I agree. Get back the two strikers on
Yeah.
top
Yeah.
and see where we go. All right, cool, nice. Next up, who to talk about next? Why? Okay, we can get it out of here. PSG versus Liverpool, dog. Let's be real. 2-0 was very kind to Liverpool, right, dog?
Yeah.
These men had zero shots on target in the game. None. I.e., they could have started shivs in goal and the scoreline would not have changed. Dog. That is to tell you what went on. It was pathetic. It was toothless. They got away, in all honesty, for by not conceding more. And I will be absolutely amazed if they turn this around. Again, guys, for context, Anfield European Knights have seen only two wins since the last time Liverpool has won the Champions League. Eh? Of those two, one was against Gala last round. So that is how much knockout wins they've seen since then. So I don't hold any hope for them. In fact, I think they might get pasted. Really and truly. I think PSG in a mood, they in that mood, they feeling themselves, they getting to take the weekends off because Lon's willing to take a little pay cut and postpone games. Bro, that is the most unserious thing ever. Sorry to say, like we talk about the Bundesliga being farmers league, you know? But
PSG
Liga
literally
might be
runs our
worse.
league, dog.
Bro, Lons was going to play their title rivals because they are competing for the league amidst
I
a
know.
Champions League tie. That suits you. Why
Yeah.
are you
That
postponing, bro? I don't understand that.
it
But
makes
yeah,
no
so
sense.
like I said, I think PSG are going through. I have no doubts in my mind. PSG moving forward, and yeah, Chefs go first now. Anything you want to say at all?
I think somebody needs to call MI6 and tell him the Kavicha Kavar scale is going to be up against Kanate. The defending to be informed that's going to be taking place Tuesday night. But yeah, I really can't see a way back for Liverpool unless they deploy the scoreboards and try to chop off Dembele's thumb, maybe. But realistically, nah. I'm sorry, Salah has to go. This in such a sad manner. But when some you lose some,
Virgil?
Yeah, I just glad that they were able to get some celebrations in this weekend. They have celebrate young players, leaving players, all those things because when those fans go back in Anfield midweek, that not gonna look good at all. Because the way
Yeah.
how he line up that game, if he is to do anything else with more confidence and say, you know what, forget this back five, let's actually play some football. There's nothing I could see him doing unless he could roll back the years for Salah. There's nothing he could do that would not make the Anfield night a hard watch.
hmm And lastly is Atletico winning 2-0 at the Camp Nou. And I'll be honest, this is the one tie I could see turn around. However, I've said this in the chat and I'll say it again. History is not on Barcelona's side because they've only met up against Atletico in the Champions League twice. Both times, Atletico has knocked them out. On top of that, Diego Simeone has never lost a tie at home in the Champions League. He has never lost a home leg, which I think is insane. Now obviously that doesn't mean they obviously got knocked out plenty years. They would have lost away from home, draw at home, maybe win even, but the win is not enough. But the only they have gotten knocked out on penalties, but they've never lost in the 90 minutes. And so I don't think history is on their side for now. I'm going to say Atletico are going to go through because I think Barcelona, we talk about tactics, right? Barca tactics does leave a lot on the counter, and I do think this version of Atletico really do well to knit together some attacks and go forward. I think Lookman, Alvarez, sort out off the bench, Griezmann, these guys offer a lot going the other way. I don't think this Barca team is in that moment. However, they have a player on their side. What's his name again? Lamine Yamal, who seems to be willing to put this team on his back and do amazing things. And so I'll never count him out. But the other side, they have Rashford, who looking like United Rashford. So, yeah. So for now, I would say I favor Atletico. I think Frankie's back for this game, I think is huge news for them. But I do think the game state suits what Atletico are very strong at. And so for now, I'm gonna go Atletico. Who you go first now?
Yeah, I favor Atletico because of the obvious fact because the scoreline favors them. But as I said, there's not a tie I could say gonna be easy to call because Barca gonna be back there with 11 men, and it's not that big of a hurdle for Barca to get over. They have that firepower where they could not only respond with 2 goals but respond with 2 goals quick. So yeah, I feel like I lean as I mentioned earlier. I only leaning towards Atletico Madrid because of the scoreline is.
Mm-hmm. Shivs?
I kind of sit on the opposite side, knowing these Spanish sides. Can't trust them at all. Can't ask them for no kind of help. I say it over and over again. Atletico are known serial butlers, serial chokers, and I don't think a 2-0 cushion is enough. Barcelona, as much as I don't like them, they have a really good attacking power. I seem to score. I think Flick broke the record for quickest 100 goals or something like that. I saw the other day. So I think all our firepower coming going to Atleti, and then there's not the Atleti old where we know Simeone's and his terroristic tactics. We should say it's a different Atleti. So not gonna go there and just park the plane for 90 minutes. They're gonna go out there. They're gonna try to play. And that could probably cause them. There could be gaps at the back there. Lamar could exploit Lewandowski if he gets into good positions. Ferran, if he, on his 25th attempt, he could probably score. So yeah, I think Barca could actually turn this around and get the comeback.
The thing is why I obviously the Newcastle game went really really bad for them, but when I watched the Barca game that was in St James, boy, I think that anytime these teams really turn up the intensity on them, unless they have both Frankie and Petri, which they should have, I think they really struggle to get a grip of what's going on in midfield. And so we'll see because even Lewa boy, he really does look like he suffered a serious physical drop off this season. And so it does feel like this year was a year where it was Yamal and friends out. Yamal is the only one who I think has consistently performed. Rafinha obviously spent so much of the season injury. Rashford is Rashford, and then for me, Ferran isn't somebody that you want as a consistent starter. He's somebody who you want to be part of this squad to contribute when as a starter. So yeah. Alright guys, so that is it for this week. We'll be back next week. We'll talk about what would have been a decisive game in the title race. Another one for the CFT Derby. And we also have your final four for the champ for the league. Look, it's again so crazy, bro. We talk about here in 2 games. Arsenal gonna be out the Champions League and out the title race. or could be back to the semi-finals for another year and have a command and lead in the titles. If all they love this podcast, all they better hope for the latter because I don't know if we can do this again next season if I don't see this one out. Thank you guys for your time to watch. I catch you guys next time. See you soon. Take it easy. Later.